Hello and welcome to the show. My guest today is CEO Walter Clark, owner of the Walter Clark Legal Group, whose legal reputation here in the desert is very well known. He plays an active role in many community projects, spearheads a public service scholarship program for students, and he also runs a program called Safe Ride Home, amongst many other things. Let's sit down with Walter today and find out more. So let's welcome my first guest and only guest of the show today, Walter Clark. Walter, thank you so much for joining me.
Delighted to be with you, Monica.
It's wonderful, thank you so much. And this beautiful set as well.
It's stunning.
It is, isn't it? We're very demurely dressed as opposed to this lovely set. But Walter, it's great to have you.
Thank you.
You're very well known here in the desert. You have this incredible legal group where your reputation precedes you. But I wanted to find out a little bit more today about you, the man itself. So how did it all begin for you? Where did you go to school? Were you here in the desert or was it somewhere else?
There is one law school in the desert, but it's very, very small and it's not accredited. But I did go to the University of California and then to the University of San Diego, where I finished law school, took the bar, and then I went to work, my first job out here in the desert with the district attorney's office. So I was a prosecutor starting in 1973, long before you were born, I'm sure.
I don't know about that. So how old were you?
Sorry?
When you first sort of thought about getting into law? Was it something you always wanted to do?
I didn't think about it. I was in college and it was a sort of a radical thing to go to law school then and hope for social change. If you recall, there was a Vietnam War.
Yes, absolutely.
Things were going on and it seemed like that was an interesting place to study. That's what I did.
And was it things like that made you want to study law? Was those sort of happenings? Did you think I want to get into this? Or?
It seemed like an avenue to social change. Without that degree, I didn't think I could be effective in politics or anything else. And I think for students now, it's also an interesting time given what's going on in the country.
Exactly. And do many students now? Have you got many people going into law? Is it a popular thing to go into in America?
I think it's interesting in a sense because when I was in law school, we had one female student. She was a nun. It was a Catholic school. And now 2/3 of the students are female.
Really?
Yeah, really big change.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I remember when I was at school, it wasn't really an area that women could go into. I don't know why, but that wasn't kind of on the curriculum for us, certainly in the UK anyway. And when you were at school, did you have a favourite teacher?
Of course, you develop some, and those of whom you are quite afraid too. They call on you and try to humiliate you.
Right, yes. And who was your favourite teacher?
It was a contracts teacher and then a torts teacher, and they were just great scholars, as well as being open and accessible. So there people become friends too.
You always remember your first teacher, don't you? Or your favourite one at least.
Sure.
And what was your favourite subject?
Well, it was torts, which is what I do now.
Now explain torts for people who don't know that, because obviously...
Certainly. It's a word that describes wrongful things that happen to other people. So when someone assaults you or bumps into you in a car, those could be considered torts. Also, most crimes are torts, I think. If you consider murder, it is also a tort, but principally prosecuted for criminal penalties, not compensation. What we do is to seek compensation to make up for the harms that are caused by the tort.
It's one of those things, when you start talking about it, it sounds like really from a very young age, you just wanted to be a lawyer.
I can't say that that's true. I wish I had that sort of direction.
Drive, yes.
But it did turn out to be something I really do love.
Was there anything just when you started out your career that made you think, this is it? I have actually found the right career for me?
In part, it was the trial work I was doing as a prosecutor. And
Tell us about that. What was that?
Well, in that role, you first are given criminal cases to try, which involve most typically misdemeanors, smaller crimes like drunk driving, and theft. And then you move up to the more serious crimes, which includes murder, And those are challenging trials because you do work 24/7. And when you're in trial, it's all day, all night. And then the weekends, it's very stressful. It consumes you. But I found that I could do a pretty good job at that. So when I left, I went into trying civil cases, not just criminal cases. So
And are you in contact with the people that you met in your past? Are you still in contact with them now?
I am. I had lunch with one of
Oh,
them
that's
today.
so nice.
We're now older, the senior members,
Yes.
and
Wiser, we say wiser.
and we still get together. Sure.
Yeah, that's really nice though, isn't it? Because it must be nice to catch up on old times and also reminisce on old times, but think about what's happening now in the world, because it's a very different world, obviously, when you first, came into law.
Different world and a different state in the sense that this county, this end of this county has grown so fast. It's just astounding. When I was first a prosecutor, we maybe had one murder a year, and it was usually a husband-wife type of domestic thing.
Yes.
And now they have so many to prosecute, and the population has changed so much. It really is a different place altogether. We had no mall. When I first arrived,
Really?
you could drive to Palm Springs in about 15 minutes from
Yeah.
Indio. No stoplights. It's quite
Oh
different.
my gosh.
Now we
That's
have this tennis garden, which you've got to visit.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I know. So, and you've got a lovely polo field now. I mean, it's just
I know.
incredible. And that's an international polo field, isn't it? People come from all over the world.
There was a lot of
to come
space
here.
here to develop, and
Yes.
they've developed it pretty well.
Yes, they have, and I mean, I've been coming to Palm Springs for quite a few years, and and coming to the desert in general, and I've seen the change. More buildings going up, but happy to see that no buildings that are incredibly tall. You've tended to. Is that something here that's a law that you can't build over a certain height?
Each municipality does have ordinances, and they all want to keep the heights down. Most importantly, I think for the appearance of the community, undergrounding of utilities is important, so you don't see wires, and the roadways are
Yes.
pretty well designed, so they can accommodate the traffic, which is different from London,
Yes.
where they were
Which you've
small.
been to, of
Right,
course.
yeah.
Yes, where it's every inch is just packed in
Yeah.
London. In fact, they're building so much in London now. We wonder where, how and when they're going to stop, because it's every area of London you see, it's being built. It's being
But
built.
to your credit, you have good public transportation.
Yes, we do.
We don't.
Yeah, interesting. I was talking about that actually with somebody else, because you don't have an underground service like
Right.
we have, and you don't have a rail service like we have.
Don't.
Is that just here? Because obviously in some states, New York, for example, they've got a good railway service, but you don't have anything here in the desert, do you?
We don't, but one was proposed by the young Jerry Brown when he was first governor.
Yeah.
And he was out here, and I had dinner with him, a few others, and he said, you have this wash that runs right down the center of the valley. Why don't you consider putting a monorail down the wash so that you can take the traffic off of Highway 111 and have people easily get back and forth from the various resorts to Palm Springs?
Yes, excellent idea.
It was not just an excellent idea, I think, but for me, and I'm so concerned about the fact that we're so reliant on the cars and the accidents that are caused by drunk drivers could
Yes.
basically be eliminated, because we would have a place for the tourists to get on public transportation, clean, neat, fast, go to their dinner, restaurant, whatever it is.
Yes, it's really funny because in the UK we walk everywhere,
Yeah.
and yet when I'm here, if I'm walking, no one walks. So they they know that I'm English, I think, because nobody walks here. Everybody takes the car, which is it's a shame, really. But I suppose we're used to it again because we rely on our public transport. So we walk to the tube, or we'll walk to the bus stop, etc. But I think that something like that could really benefit the desert, couldn't it?
Oh, it needs to happen. I would like to see public transportation out here, because as we grow, the traffic like today, getting here,
Yes.
the tennis garden is now packing the Highway 111.
Oh, because of the tennis tournament that's on
right.
here at the moment.
So
Yes.
having a rail would be great.
Yeah. And is there any likelihood that's going to happen, or have they just
No,
shelved the whole
because
idea?
One of the developments in Indian Wells was to be called Sun Terra, and they had planned 5 hotels And the goal was to make within that project easy transportation, either golf carts or walking, and that would keep people from having to get on the highway to drive to their restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
That was one step in the right direction, but the cities are little fiefdoms. They are jealous, and there were lawsuits to stop it, and I don't think we have the common good in mind in terms of an overview of the right planning in the valley.
Because you do see golf carts. You see a lot of golf carts.
Yeah.
Now, are they allowed on the roads?
They are, as long as they are on a road that doesn't have a speed limit more than 25 miles an hour.
Oh, really?
And that it must be equipped with seat belts and headlights and taillights.
Wow. See, they're not allowed on the road.
Not on Highway 111, but I see them anyway. And I'm just fearful because there's really no protection, and often those people pile the kids in there and they're just exposed. You know, it's dangerous.
Wow. We're going to stop it just one there,
Sure.
just one for a second. So come back and join me after the break. Welcome back to the show, and I'm here with Walter Clark. So Walter, before the break we were talking about the little golf buggies that we were seeing. Now, you see, interestingly, they're not allowed on the roads in England. They are on the pavements, which I think actually is just as dangerous as them being on the roads, to be quite fair. But it's different here, and you were saying, you know, they have to have the license and the seatbelt and everything. And do they have to have insurance?
Yes, they're supposed to have insurance also. And in England, I think you don't even have them on the golf courses.
No, well, we do on the big golf courses, but not on the little ones. But they should certainly come here. Now, talking about highways, you adopted a highway, didn't you?
Well, we have over the years, and it's not in the sense that it becomes
ours
for a night or something like that.
Yeah.
We're simply paying for the cleanup of the highway during a certain number of miles. And so they give us that little credit with a sign, but we're just trying to keep the desert looking good, and so they offer us this opportunity to help clean up the highway. We can't go out and do it ourselves, of course.
No.
It contracts with an individual company that does have workers to go out there. And
I think that's a great idea.
it's a shame that there's trash out there. Anyway.
Mind you, honestly, your highways are so clean compared to ours in the UK. Yes, I mean you've got 10, of course, and you know that one, and you've got quite a lot of rubbish on that one. But honestly, our highways are very, very littered. And is there a fine if someone throws their rubbish out of the window?
Certainly, but we don't see law enforcement enforcing that. But in England, it seems to me, the times I've been there, everything looks spotless.
Yeah, isn't it funny? We think you're spotless and you think yes. We'll leave it at that. That's good as well. But that's an interesting thing, though, Dr. Highway. I like that.
Yeah, it's just a contribution of payment for the workers to go out and clean it up. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing. So let's talk about the one thing that I know that you're passionate about, and that is your Safe Ride Home program. So tell us a little bit about that and what that actually is.
Certainly, it's a program that provides on certain holidays when people are expected to be going out and drinking too much. It provides an opportunity for those who are impaired to get a free ride home. And it used to be done with taxi cabs. It's evolved now to being Ubers and others.
Yeah.
But our goal initially was to see that we helped on those big holidays lower the accident rate, because we find that on those holidays, and out here it's even St. Paddy's Day,
Yes.
4th of July, Cinco de Mayo, the Christmas, January, those holidays just seem to be an invitation for people to abuse alcohol, unfortunately. And that means more likely than not, the arrests come from those who have been at bars and restaurants, not from home. If they would just drink at home, it would be great.
Yes.
But they go to parties and they go to restaurants, and it does become a serious problem. Every 40 minutes, someone is killed in the United States from a drunk driver or by a drunk driver.
Every 40 minutes?
Every 40 minutes. So more than one
Someone
an hour.
is killed by a drunk
It's
driver.
bizarre.
That is an incredible statistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And are there different laws in each state for drink? Obviously, in California, it's 21, isn't it? You can't drink unless you're over 21.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But people 21 and older abuse. And while each state is different, they all have systems to punish those who drink too much and drive, because we know that when you drive impaired, you're much more likely to cause an accident. But my point is, my concern, whether or not people in one state have a different punishment versus another state, punishment
Right.
doesn't work.
No.
And one of my reasons for bringing to the public's attention this Safe Ride Home program was to be able to preach what I really firmly believe, and that is the laws against drunk driving haven't worked. Obviously, we have more drunk driving
Yes.
accidents every year.
And it's the same in the UK. And all we have is drink more responsibly.
Bizarre.
To be honest, I don't think that does it. I don't know how it is here, but it certainly isn't if that's your statistic. It's not
It's
working.
moronic. We know that alcohol impairs our judgment. That's why we feel better. And
Yes.
once your judgment is impaired, that's when they tell you to act responsibly. And that's when I know I think I'm responsible, but I'm not.
Yes.
So it's just absolutely insane
Yeah.
that we are promoting the sale of alcoholic beverages, and we know that people aren't going to be responsible. I liken it to the situation we had in the States back in the 70s, where we finally stopped allowing the advertisement of tobacco products on television. It came through an administrative agency. The industry wasn't on top of stopping it fast enough, and it became the law. What a great thing. We have lowered the cancer death rate from tobacco smoke considerably since that time.
Yes.
We made it unpopular to smoke, and then we started banning smoking in different public places.
That's right.
When I was in college, people were smoking in the classroom.
All
Ridiculous.
the time. Yes.
So that's an example of what we could do if we had the gumption to do it. Unfortunately, the industry that manufactures the beer and wine and other spirits has a lot more clout, and they make a lot more money. And so the likelihood of us ever being able to ban the sale of alcohol is very remote. And yet all of our kids see every sporting event advertising,
Yes.
and it's also,
It's ironic, really, isn't it?
it is, it's schizophrenic. We're telling the public this is the way you celebrate a football game, or soccer, as you call it, by drinking. And the kids see that, and they learn that, and it then becomes the custom and practice, and it's very dangerous. And the fact of the matter, now we're seeing our former Surgeon General tell us it's carcinogenic. So I'm not against drinking.
No.
I just think as a public policy, we shouldn't encourage it. And there are ways we could discourage it. But just like with the restaurants, I think if you try to open a restaurant in the desert, you'll find that the city wants you to have adequate parking so that people can come there sober and then drink and hopefully eat dinner, but maybe drink too much. And the city likes that, really, because that's where the big tax money comes from.
All right.
The
I
bars
see.
produce more revenue,
Yes.
and the revenue means more taxes, and the cities seek those kind of dining establishments. So once someone is there and they've had that second drink, they do feel fine. They don't think they're being irresponsible because they're impaired, and that's when they get in the car and drive home. It's absolutely schizophrenic what we're doing.
Do you think the establishments have more of a responsibility to see people that, that are clearly drunk, obviously having too much drink? Is it for them to say that's enough now?
It would be ideal, but they have a conflict of interest, don't they? They want to sell more.
Of course.
Right. And we used to have a dram shop law in California, but the industry got it wiped out. And the dram shop law simply said that if some establishment, a bartender, restaurant, whatever, overserves a client, and that client goes out and injures somebody, the person responsible is not just the driver of the car, but also the establishment that overserved. And that was a good law. But
What happened to that law?
after a case at Harrah's Club in Lake Tahoe, where a pedestrian was hit and killed, the club got sued, and they decided to put money into getting all of the servers in California to change the law. So they now have a law which is the opposite of dram shop. It says if somebody hurts someone else because of being impaired by alcohol, it's their fault, not the person who provided it. So that's the sole cause. It can't be apportioned like a jury can apportion responsibility typically, called comparative fault. But now it can only be the driver himself. Well, the drivers often don't have enough insurance. And of course, the bars and restaurants stand back and say, not my fault,
Yes.
can't sue me. I don't think that's good.
No, that doesn't sound fair at all.
It doesn't.
And I often think with drink driving, it's just, it's on the increase here, it's on the increase in the UK. So clearly whatever's been happening isn't working. So
Right.
someone needs to take a look at that stat
I
and
agree.
say, this isn't working, so let's try something, let's try something new. Let's look at it again and see what we can do to do it. Do you think that's going to happen?
No. Special interests control our legislators until there's some horrible, horrible thing that happens. I see same thing with gun control. It just never gets accomplished. The public seems to like it, but the industry will put those fires out quickly by threatening our elected representatives. You won't get elected again if you do this because we're going to dump a lot of money into the opponent in your campaign.
It
it's
comes
political.
down to money and politics,
It's
doesn't
frustrating.
it?
It is.
Very
We feel
frustrating.
like we get stuck sometimes in democracy, and it becomes a rut. We can't seem to make changes for the better. At least that's my opinion.
Well, that's a very good opinion. Well, we're going to take another quick break.
Sure.
So come back and join me again just after the break. Welcome back to the show. Walter, we were in deep discussion there about your Safe Home Programme. Safe Ride Home Programme. And, this dram shop law that you were telling me about. So, and there's no chance that can ever come back to fruition, you think?
Do you have any idea what the financial power is of the alcoholic beverage industry? It's incredible. And who would be able to fund something against that? It doesn't happen. Now, the dram shop law does exist in some other states.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, we have a patchwork of laws. But unfortunately, California, as a result of that change in about 1976, lost our right to prosecute those responsible other than the driver. And that's unfortunate.
And you've seen a sharp increase in incidences with drink driving here in the desert. Let's just take the desert. That's just where we are now.
We see it go up every year. Now, I realize the population has also increased.
Yes, of course.
But we have the highest, according to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Entity for the state, we have the highest concentration of liquor licenses in Indian Wells than any other place in the state. And overall, in the valley, we have a much higher rate. It's a resort community. People come to go out to dinner and drink, and that's what they do here. So I wonder if it's higher in Las Vegas, probably, but people stay in those clubs. Where here, they tend to get on Highway 111 and drive home from the restaurant or drive to another dancing place like the Nest.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's interesting because in different countries, in the UK, it's the same. We can't, tell somebody you're not having any more drink. However, in some pubs in England, the landlord would, the server would say, you've had enough, that's it. But I suppose I can see what you're saying there, because if they do that, that's their profit, isn't it?
Right.
They don't want to stop them drinking. So we need to find something that allows them to do that almost.
Right, or public transportation.
Or public transportation, yes. It's right. And what about your program itself? Do people take, you up on this lovely program?
I'm glad we're doing it, but my goal is simply to have an opportunity, like you have provided, to talk about the inequities and stupidity of our laws. It doesn't make any difference. In my opinion, very few people take advantage of it. And what I'm more concerned about, and I hate to admit it, is that people are planning to go get drunk because they can get a free ticket home.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to be encouraging it.
No.
But having a platform from which to address this very big concern I have is nice. It's just that I haven't got any traction, frankly.
Yes.
None of the bars I approached with free intoxilizers wanted to do it. And I was hopeful that people just would volunteer to take the test before they leave, but they don't want to. And then we had a situation with one bar where the person was asked to take the test. They did. They failed it. The hostess got an Uber, and the Uber came and picked them up. But 500 feet down the road, he told the Uber to bring him back. He got in his car and drove home.
No.
So, I mean, people don't think they're
You
drunk
see,
when
that's
they
the
are.
thing. That is the problem. There's that responsible drunk who thinks, I call them that, but they're not responsible because they think they're responsible, but they're not responsible in any shape or form.
Monica, that includes me, not just
Yeah.
they.
Yeah.
It does. And I know that when I have been drinking, I feel like I can do anything.
Yes, you just it's no. But it's true though, isn't it? You think,
Yeah.
oh, it's just a couple of drinks.
Yes.
I'm absolutely fine. There's no need to worry. But it's
Right.
the couple of drinks that actually could cause someone to die. And
It's-
isn't, and I don't know what the stats are here, but we have a lot of deaths in the UK from drink driving.
Really?
Yes. So again, I don't know the stats, and whenever you hear a drink driving situation, invariably it ends up in someone being killed, which I find abhorrent. It's appalling that something just like one alcoholic drink, which is downed in about 3 seconds, could cause somebody to lose their lives.
To make a mistake. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have otherwise. And
Absolutely.
you make a good point with regard to the amount of alcohol that's permitted in different states and different
Yes.
countries. In California, anything at a .08
Right.
or higher is presumed to be under the influence. Now that standard has changed. It used to be .10, came down to
So it's come down.
.08, and many states are .05. And maybe none of this makes any real difference, but the fact of the matter is .08 is 2 6-ounce glasses of wine or 12-ounce cans of beer, however you
beer,
bottle.
of lager, yes.
Right. Or one shot, 100, what do you call it, whatever a shot
Yeah, whatever
is.
shots, yes. But now shots are very popular. And they're very, they're popular in England. I'm sure they're popular here. And you kind of see people down their shots and you think, how many of those can you have before you're over the legal limit? And it's interesting. Would it be better, Walter, do you think, if we had kind of one law for the whole of the United States of America?
I guess it may be better.
Would that be too complicated, though?
I don't know whether it would be too complicated. If all the legislators agreed on one standard, that
Yeah.
would be nice. I think my point is that it's still very superficial because prosecuting people for being over the .08 hasn't made any difference.
Yeah.
We're not looking for real change. We're not discouraging people on television. We're encouraging them to drink. And we're not discouraging them from driving home because we're making them have a parking lot where they can come sober.
Yes,
And the whole thing is upside down.
Yeah.
And I'm just afraid that the real issue never gets addressed. But hope.
Yes,
I hope.
well, that's all we can do. And of course, I think as well, I think establishments, if you were owner of an establishment, it's for them to take some onus as well, isn't it? To be that person who's going to put their head above the parapet, really, and just say, I'm going to take a stance. If you come in here and you have more than a certain amount to drink, I'm going to stop serving you. See, now, would that be against the law here in California? If you said to somebody, if I came into a restaurant and I had more than 2 glasses of wine, you've seen that I'm going to leave in my car and I want some more alcohol, would they then be able to say, oh no, you're not allowed to do that, that's against my rights or whatever, to stop me from drinking?
I really don't think so because
No.
you still have the right to drink somewhere else in your home, but it's not functional, it's not
No.
practical because the waitress is going to say, who's the designated driver, and it'll be the one who isn't drinking, but somebody else is going to drive their car.
Yes,
it's
it's a bit of a,
impractical.
yes, it is. But I'm glad that we've spoken about it today because
Thank you.
it means that we've highlighted it and then, and hopefully there'll be change.
There
What would
might
your
be.
ideal thing be to stop it?
My ideal thing would be to see the evolution of the electronic devices that they now have available for cars, where they can actually sense alcohol in your system when you touch the steering wheel. Now we know something like that is imposed on people who have been convicted more than twice. However, and I know there's probably ways to cancel it, but I think if
Yes.
it was on everyone's car, it would alert those of us who don't think that we're impaired that we are. That might help a little bit.
I think that's an excellent idea.
And
Is that on the new
It doesn't let you
cars?
start your car. If you're driving and you have that
Yeah.
That amount of alcohol in your blood that's coming through your pores and into the steering wheel.
Immobilises your car.
Yeah. Lights
it.
flash, it pulls over, whatever.
That's it. You've heard it here first. That's it, Walter. We're going to go invent.
We need you to invent.
Is that on the new cars? Is that on the new Tesla, for example?
No,
Do they have those
no,
kind of sensors?
It's not. It is available in the sense that they could do it, and we know that they have done it for certain programs. But of course, the industry doesn't want that.
They don't want it again.
And you know, I'm afraid if it were optional, people wouldn't get it because they don't want to have a nanny state telling them when they can drink.
It needs to be a law that says this is going to happen, and this is, well, you know, we hope that that will happen, you know, and I think it's wonderful that you have this program, that you know, maybe we could you know, change it slightly to maybe encourage more people. But it's interesting that you say, when you said about people just, you know, doing it, going out and drinking and just knowing they can get a free ride home. It's almost, we've got to turn it around, isn't it? It's turning that around, really.
On New Year's Eve, a lot of people do that. They want to get the free ride home ticket.
Of course, yes, of
so
course.
that they can go out. And, you know, maybe that helps in some sense, but I don't think it's sending the right message.
No, that's right. Yes. It's not actually getting to the crux of the problem, is it?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
that's it. And with that dreadful stat, 40 killed, what was that stat again? 40 killed.
1 killed every 40 minutes. So while we've been sitting here, someone's died.
Someone's died.
Yeah.
Isn't that's just a powerful thought, isn't it?
Well, when you look at the total number every year,
Yeah.
it compared to an airplane crash or some other catastrophe, it's really shocking.
And yet we're not really taking it seriously.
We aren't. And I don't think we ever will, because we keep relying on punishment to correct a problem. And there are two types of offense. One is one which is called instrumental, where you actually think about breaking the law. Like you're late for that appointment, you can park in a red zone, and you know the ticket's going to be $25. You'll take that risk that you don't get the ticket because you're thinking about it. But with expressionistic offenses, drugs, alcohol, sex, they do it anyway. and it's true, punishing those, especially when people are impaired, they don't think it's going to happen. They don't even think they're impaired. Isn't that the problem? I mean, really.
Yes, absolutely.
So
we have to take another break. So another quick break for us, but come back and join me again. See you soon. Welcome back to the show, and a very interesting conversation that we're having with Walter. Walter, it's an absolutely fascinating conversation with you. We've spoken about so much today, but I wanted to talk to you about your public service scholarship, this wonderful program, because I know education is very, very important to you. So tell us about this other project that you do.
It started out a long time ago when I was learning about the absence of really robust educational opportunities here. And then I've also felt strongly that our public servants, who are now getting fired all over the country, which makes me sick, but they are so necessary. And because the compensation usually isn't anything like television stars and so forth, they need to be encouraged to do the good work they do in teaching, nursing, law enforcement, and we don't seem to be focused on that. So many students now want to go into filmmaking and those sorts of professions. So that was the guiding idea to begin with. But it came up because when I was first here and on the board of the local YMCA, I came to learn about the extensive poverty in our valley. And I was unaware how big it was. And also I saw the programs we did at the YM to help with single parents whose children had no place to go after school. So it was called a latchkey program, and it worked really well, and the public were very grateful for it. My next involvement was through the United Way, and at that point I learned about not just the poverty, but the illiteracy, which was, to me, shocking. And the Clinton Project, working with United Way, explained to me that if a child doesn't learn to read by the 3rd grade, they can't read to learn thereafter. And they are more likely to drop out of school, to become productive
Yes,
citizens of our
yeah.
community end up in juvenile hall or whatever else.
Yes.
So that was a big concern. So I really wanted to focus on education and help where we could. When we found teachers who didn't even have enough supplies
Yes.
and they were coming out of their own pocket to...
Because that's it, it's the supplies, the textbooks are so
important,
expensive.
right? And whatever else they needed for the classroom. So we started to focus on scholarships and assisting education. And I'm happy we're doing it. I don't think it's a glamorous sort of thing to be doing, but
it's a very important thing to be doing, though.
it's the most important thing because as I am concerned right now for the survival of our democracy, I know that the old rule is that democracy does not succeed without an educated electorate. So we need to have voters be able to read and think.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And that's what is kind of missing now. I think everybody's relying on what they see on
Social
Social
media,
media.
yeah. It's
They're
very
not-
true, it's very true. Education is key.
It
You know,
is.
I always say that. If you educate that person, you give them an opportunity. You know, you give them opportunities that they may already not have or maybe not even think they're going to have. But you educate that person and they have many doors will open to them. And as you say, there is a lot of poverty here in the desert, and as there is in everywhere. So it's wonderful to see this sort of program, come to fruition. Really,
I'm fearful that our country is sliding in the wrong direction. For instance, when I was growing up, you could go to the University of California, if you could get in, tuition was free. Now it's really expensive. Our country is almost punishing students. They've got to get loans. The forgiveness program is it's just incredible. It's such an important asset for our country to compete with others.
yes.
Other countries that have free education, almost all in Europe, right?
Yes,
And
we're
we
very
don't.
lucky.
We don't.
Yes.
And I don't understand it. It's handicapping our systems of democracy, and competition with these other countries is going to be really challenging.
And at the end of the day, it's the children that suffer.
Sure. The children,
Because
else.
the children that have that, need or want, or their dreams, their aspirations to do something, often have it curtailed because the parents simply cannot afford to do, to pay the tuition fees, to pay the cost of the accommodation, or whatever. It is very different in the UK. We don't pay as much as what you seem to here. And it's quite shocking for me, actually, for somebody who travels abroad quite a lot, and I speak to a lot of people, how different it is here in America.
Yeah,
At what point was that decided? Has it always been like that? At what point, I know you said it was free, at what point, can you remember, Walter, did they suddenly say we're going to start charging for that?
Yes, a governor named Ronald Reagan did a lot of things to save money, which is a typical approach from the standpoint of the Conservative Party. He closed the mental hospitals, tuition started to go up, and that may please people, but in the short one only, it's a political thing.
Yes.
But in the long run, it's not healthy for the society. Something else that was happening in the valley, the people who got on board with the need for education were the employers. There was an economic study in the valley, and what was found, they were pleading for educated employees. They can't operate their shops and businesses.
Absolutely.
They have resorts that need students that have college education. Anything electrical, mechanical, they didn't have the workers.
It's the skill.
So they were also supportive. We need to have education in the valley. So as a result of that, we have seen more support for Cal State San Bernardino to be here, more support for the College of the Desert. And I want to continue to see that support grow. It's just so important, not just to the employers, but to the families that need work, and for, again, our goals as a country. We have to have that education factor.
Absolutely. And you also do a lovely program called 777. It's the sevens, your lovely telephone It's a great advertisement. I mean, it's your advertisement. Everyone who speaks to you will talk about your marketing, your advertisement, but there's a more serious thing about that. Tell us about this school program, where you award the teachers.
Well, as I said a long time ago, when I was working with the YMCA and the United Way, we found that there were so many deserving teachers who were coming out of pocket to pay for these supplies, as I mentioned. And in talking to one of them, she said, yes, I had to buy $200 worth of whatever, and then I found out it wasn't tax deductible. So here she couldn't even use a tax deduction. There were so many teachers who we found from various parents and students were outstanding teachers, going above and beyond, not just teaching class, but then coaching the teams and staying late and working weekends and coming out of pocket for the supplies. What we wanted to do was to have those who wanted to nominate a teacher, as I think when I met you.
Yes, that's right.
The teacher was very grateful for getting that attention, and the television station and selects from the various applicants, and we give a small award. It may be shameless commerce, but I really want it to just be as a focus for education, and let those teachers be bathed in the light of the public's affection for what they do.
And feel valued. I think that's,
they need to be valued, right.
Teachers need to be valued, and I think that's anywhere in the world, so anything like that, any sort of program like that that you're running is a good thing, in my opinion.
And I want more of them to go into the profession, too.
Yes, absolutely.
That's for the scholarship.
And it goes back to what you were saying, though, about education. If you get to a stage where education is so expensive, there won't be anybody going into these jobs because they can't afford, not because they don't want to, it'd be because they can't afford to. And that's a travesty. It's a travesty that we've got to that stage.
But it hurts everybody when we take that view.
So, future for you, Walter, as we finish this lovely show today, what do you see yourself doing in the future? Would you like to continue to do what you're doing?
Yeah, yes, I would.
Yes.
And hopefully my son-in-law is going to be a member of the bar, and we have 12 other attorneys. So wonderful. I want to see the law group continue. I'd like to be part of that. And more, I'd like to be able to spend time on public service issues and not have to go to court at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
But I enjoy the practice.
Yes.
I really enjoy helping people, and now we have a lawsuit against the county for the way they've been taking care of the animal shelter, dogs and cats.
Oh, right, yes.
We want to help the community and focus on doing that kind of good. I hope it's going to be considered good.
I'm sure it is.
There's a lot of ballots.
Yeah, so it's more community projects and things like that for you.
Exactly.
Well, I wish you all the best with it, Walter. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much.
It's been all mine. Delighted to be with you, Monica.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for today. Come back and join me again next week. I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.